Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Using Your Brain for Success, the show that's all about helping you build a better life by using your brain the right way. I'm Liam Naden and I'm glad you're here. Well, if you've listened to previous episodes of this show, you'll know by now that life is not meant to be a struggle. And the way your body is designed is to ensure that you live your best life possible. One in which you not only survive, but you thrive, free from problems and able to handle any threats or dangers that come your way. And of course, the better you are, the more able you are to survive and thrive and play your part in ensuring the survival not only of yourself, but of the human species as a whole. And this wiring to be the best you can be to survive and thrive, this is what we as humans have in common with every other living species on the planet. And to make sure this all happens, of course, you have a special machine called your brain. And your brain's sole job is to make sure that you survive and thrive by whatever means necessary. And there are 4 parts to your brain, and when you have them working perfectly together, then you get the perfect results. But when they're not working together the right way, that's when you end up with problems in your life. So problems are simply a sign that your brain machine is not working the right way. And of course, I've explained how this works in previous episodes. All right, but if problems are simply a sign that you are using your brain the wrong way, then of course there's another major downside in how your brain works when it comes to solving your problems. And that is that if you feel the negative emotions such as fear, stress, anxiety and frustration, you literally shut down your brain's problem-solving abilities. You actually block off the parts of your brain that contain your creativity, your intuition, your motivation. And so the biggest lesson of all is to realize that the only way you can solve problems in your life is to eliminate fear. And it's only then that your brain can find the real solutions to what you want. So we know that getting rid of fear is really the only goal that you can have. To learn to live without fears. Because fear is only useful in one specific type of situation, and that's when you're faced with an immediate threat or danger. So something that could harm you physically right in this moment. That's when your brain kicks you into survival state, and it activates your fight, flight or freeze response so that you react without thinking to eliminate the threat. And of course, this is perfect for what it's designed for, because you need to be able to react instinctively and aggressively to a real danger. But in every other situation, such as being stressed or afraid because you have a problem in your life, then in these situations the fear response is not only not going to help, but it's going to hinder you in finding a solution to a problem. So fear really is the enemy. Fear is the only thing standing between you and your ideal life. It's the only thing stopping your brain from doing its job and ensuring that you have everything you need for a life of true happiness and fulfillment. All right, so if the number one goal in life, the only goal in life really, is to get rid of your fears so that your brain can work the right way, to ensure that you live in the strongest, healthiest and happiest way possible, how do you do that? Well, that's what I show people how to do with neurostate rebalancing. This is a process which is the most effective way that I know to eliminate fears. And of course, many of the fears we have are unconscious. We're not really aware of them. And it's the best way to start allowing your brain to work properly. And my purpose in these podcasts is to help you gain a deeper understanding of who you really are and what really creates the life that you have. And you're probably discovering through listening, like I did when I discovered this information, that what really creates your life is quite different to what you thought it was. But the more you understand this information, the more your life is going to work properly because you're starting to allow your brain to work the right way. All right, well today I want to share with you a concept that has the potential to accelerate your progress even further in becoming the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, and to solve any problem you're currently facing, and to really put you in control of your life. And of all of the ideas I've been sharing with you in these podcasts, I can't think of another one that is more important than this one. Because once you understand this idea and apply it to your own life, you'll be amazed at what starts to happen. But let me give you a bit of a warning that applying this idea that I'm going to share with you, it's not that easy, because your brain is going to struggle with it. It's not going to like it, and it's probably going to come up with all sorts of objections, and you'll be saying things like, well, this can't be right. And more importantly, your brain is going to want to deny that what I'm going to share with you is actually true. It's going to say, I don't want to do this. Surely there is another way. Well, when you get thoughts like this, or any feelings of anxiety or unease, of course you just need to realize that it's just a reaction from your survival brain wanting to stay in charge. And that's using your brain the wrong way, isn't it? Because the only time, if you'll remember, the only time that you should allow your survival brain to be in charge is when you're faced with an immediate danger. So be prepared for your brain to have this reaction with what I'm going to share with you, especially also when you try to implement the idea that I'm going to talk about. You're going to feel some discomfort. But don't worry, because the insight, or what you're going to hear, what you're going to learn, it does have the potential to remove permanently most of the discomfort from your life. It really is that powerful. All right, so that's enough of a preamble. What am I actually talking about here? Well, what I'm talking about is the single thing that stops you most from succeeding in getting what you really want in your life. And it gives you a life of struggle rather than ease. It makes you feel stressed, worried, and afraid rather than happy and fulfilled. And it makes you do the wrong things so that you make your problems worse rather than doing the right things that will keep the problems away. And it makes you feel weak and vulnerable rather than feeling the power that comes from being in control of your life. Now let me illustrate this idea, what I'm going to be talking about, with an example. Now, for me, the last few years, I've actually spent most of my time living on a yacht. You know, it was one of my dreams to sail the world. And really, thanks to learning to use my brain the right way, it's a dream I've been able to fulfill. But here's really something interesting about my yacht, and it's actually true of every other yacht and every other boat. You see, my yacht lives in the water, and over time what happens is that barnacles and other marine plants begin to grow on the bottom, on the hull, which is under the water. And once a year, the boat needs to be taken out of the water so that all of that marine life can be taken off. And it has to be removed because what all this growth actually does, if it was to stay there, it would slow the boat down. It would slow the boat's movement through the water. And the more growth that would be on the bottom of the boat, the slower the boat would go. And if there was too much, or if there is too much, the boat can really struggle to move at all, even if we've got the engine on full power. So really this growth is not a good thing. It causes the boat to be slower, and of course, because of that, we use more fuel and we struggle to go anywhere. Now you might be thinking, even if you're not a sailor, well, what's the point of this? That's pretty obvious. So you've got some resistance caused by growth on the bottom of your boat. What's unusual about that? After all, everywhere you have resistance, it's going to interfere and make movement slower and more difficult. For instance, when you ride your bike, it's a lot slower and more difficult when you're pedaling into a strong wind than when you have the wind behind you. But here's the thing that very few people realize. The same law of resistance, if you like, it also applies to everything about your life and the progress of your life. And if you want to make progress in your life, if you want to go faster, then you need to get rid of anything that is causing resistance. Because here's the thing, the less resistance, the faster you go. And this really is true of every aspect of your life, your relationships, your finances, your career. Any resistance that you put up is not only going to slow you down, it's going to cause you to put in far more effort than you need to, and it's going to create problems for you. Now, think about anything in your life at the moment that you're not happy about, any problem that you're facing. Isn't it true that this problem, or what you're not happy about, isn't it true it's causing you to struggle? Isn't it giving you feelings of fear or frustration? And isn't it also true that you're resisting the problem? You're trying to fight it, you're trying to solve it, you're trying to eliminate it from your life. Of course, fighting something or struggling with it is the opposite of just letting it go and not putting up any resistance. Because when you fight something, you're resisting what is. You're not accepting what is. You're trying to change things. You're trying to find a solution. Now, you might be thinking, yes, sure, Liam, but hang on. How can I solve a problem if I don't try to solve it? Surely I can't just ignore it and hope it goes away. That's only going to make things worse. I can't just give up and do nothing. Well, I'm not suggesting you do nothing, and we'll look at what you should do shortly. But for now, I just want you to see that resistance is part of a law of nature. The law that says resistance only slows things down and makes them more difficult. And this applies to everything in nature, whether it be the hull of a yacht, riding a bike, or dealing with your problems. And the less resistance, the faster you go. The less resistance, the faster you go. And not only the faster you go, but the easier the journey, the more fun, and the less energy you use. And why does this work? Well, it's all to do, when it comes to you and your problems, it's all to do with how your brain works to solve problems and create your ideal life. Because when you're resisting something, when you're struggling or battling to change things from the way they are now into something else that you want to have, then you are feeling the emotions of frustration, worry, stress, anxiety, and fear. And remember what happens when you feel all or any of these emotions? That's right, you're in survival state. And you're blocking the part of your brain that has all of the resources that you need to solve the problem, which include your imagination, your creativity, your insight, inspiration, and being able to see the big picture about what your situation actually is. So in its essence, resisting what is, and in fact even trying to change anything at all, is simply the result of fear. So for instance, you're afraid that you won't have enough money to survive, so you're not happy with the amount of money you currently earn, and you struggle to earn more. Or you have problems in your marriage or relationship, and you're afraid that you'll miss out on the love and intimacy that you really want, so you struggle to solve the problems in the relationship. And all of this is about resisting what is. But the thing is, and it must be this way, that if you continue to put up resistance to what is going on in your life right now, if you struggle to change things, if you don't accept the way things are, then you're never going to be able to solve the problems you have. Now, you might find a temporary fix here or there, but the problems themselves aren't going to go away, and pretty soon you're probably going to have more problems. Now, I'm sure you've found this already in your own life, the struggle with problems and how it works. But think about what's happening in your life right now. Is there something that you're not happy with? Is there something that you would like to be different? Or whatever it is, isn't it true that making progress to finding a solution is difficult, and it feels like a struggle? And progress is slow, and sometimes it feels like you're not making any progress at all. Sometimes you might feel you're going backwards. Well, the reason you're not making progress is because there's too much resistance, and you can't move forward until you get rid of the resistance. All right, so what does it take to get rid of resistance? Well, getting rid of resistance takes faith, and that comes from understanding. And it comes from the understanding of who you really are and what your brain is and how it really works. And you really have to do what every great teacher has been telling us to do throughout history, which is have faith, believe, trust, let go, stop trying and start allowing. You know, when you really do let go of resistance, you stop fighting yourself and your situation. So you stop using your thinking brain to try to figure out a solution, which it can never do. And we saw why this is the case in the last episode. So you stop using your thinking brain and you stop using your mechanical fear-based brain, which can only react and do the wrong things. And instead you open up your creative brain. And when you do, the full resources of the intelligence that drives everything in the universe are available to you. And these resources include the right information, the right people, the right circumstances to ensure that you live in the flow of life. Well, now, unfortunately, stopping resisting has a bad name in our society. And we've been taught to believe that if you stop fighting, struggling and trying hard, then you're weak. These are signs of weakness. And that's why we think that working hard is somehow a virtue. But we're not here to work hard. We're not here to overcome struggles and adversity. We're here to enjoy our life. We're here to be in the natural flow of life, which is without struggle. It's the same everywhere in nature, and it's the same for us too. Of course, there's a difference between giving up resistance and doing nothing. Stopping resisting doesn't mean that you give in to a threat and allow yourself to be injured, hurt, or even killed. But it does mean to stop acting through fear when there is no immediate threat, so that you live your life in your most powerful and resourceful state, which is your natural creative state. It's only in this state that you know who you really are, that your brain really works in the way that will give you the right results in your life. And it all comes from giving up resistance, because again, the less resistance, the faster you go. All right, so giving up resistance to the problems in your life situation, accepting what is, and knowing that your brain will do exactly what is necessary to remove the problems and give you your ideal life, if that's the key, and it is, then how do you do that? Well, you might think that it takes courage, and yes, it does take a bit of courage. But the thing is that the more you understand how your brain works, and the more you experience the results of living without resisting, then the more you're going to be able to trust yourself and your creative brain, and the less courage that you actually need. And this is what neurostate rebalancing does for you. The neurostate rebalancing process teaches your brain the difference between real and imaginary fears. And once you apply neurostate rebalancing to any problem you have in your life, you automatically give up resistance. You open up the creative part of your brain and life starts to flow. And of course, the less resistance and the faster you go in the right direction. And you can learn neurostate rebalancing in my coaching program. You'll find the details on how to enroll on my website, liamnaden.com. But for now, decide that for the next few minutes, for the rest of this time we're sharing together, that you're going to give up resistance in your life. Bring your attention to the present moment, the only moment in time that exists, and ask yourself, what am I resisting in my life? What is something about my life that I'm struggling with? What's something that I would like to be different? What is something that is causing me to feel pain, fear, worry, stress or frustration? And what is something that is making me unhappy? Now this could be something about your marriage or relationship that's bothering you. It could be in your business or your career. It could be something going on in the world that is making you feel overwhelmed and helpless. But whatever it is, think about this problem that you have. And as you think about the thing that is bothering you, the thing that's stopping you from feeling totally happy and relaxed about your life, decide that at least for a little while, you're going to give up resisting it. You're going to stop fighting, struggling, worrying, stressing, or trying to find a solution. You're going to stop feeling that there isn't a solution and that things are hopeless. And instead, say to yourself, you know, I'm going to let go of the struggle with this. I'm going to turn it over to my creative brain. I'm going to let it go. And no matter what happens, I'm going to trust that there is a part of me, a part of my brain, that has my best interests at heart. It wants the best for me. It wants me to sort this problem out. And I don't know what to do, but this part of my brain does. It's the same part that keeps me breathing and keeps my heart beating without me having to think about it or to worry or whether it's going to happen or not. So I'm going to let this part of my brain do the work. I'm not going to try to be in charge anymore. I'm going to let this part of me be in charge. And I'm not going to worry about what happens. And I'm going to listen to the voice inside me telling me what to do or not to do. And even though I might be afraid to act on what that small voice tells me, I'm just going to trust it. And I'm going to get to know that part of me that is really in control of my life. And all the while I know, the less resistance, the faster I go. The less resistance, the faster I go. The less resistance, the faster I go. Try this anytime when things don't seem to be going right and when a problem or difficult situation arises in your life. And instead of trying to fix the problem or the situation, just stop. Stop and let go. And just wait. Wait and trust, knowing that the right thing will happen at exactly the right time. You'll know what to do, and you'll know if and when you need to do it. And you can't make a mistake when you're in this state, because this is when you are in your natural state, in the natural flow of life. And in that state, there are no mistakes. And just keep reminding yourself of the truth. The less resistance, the faster I go. The less resistance, the faster I go. Well, that's all for this episode of Using Your Brain for Success. I really look forward to sharing with you in future episodes a lot more about how you can truly create an extraordinary life using the incredible power of your brain. And if you'd really like to become the master of your own life, check out Neurostate Rebalancing. Neurostate Rebalancing is going to get your brain working to give you everything you really want in your life, and without stress, struggle or resistance. And you can sign up for my Neurostate Rebalancing coaching program at my website, liamnaden.com. Well, as always, it's been a pleasure being with you. I hope you found this helpful. All the best, and bye for now.